This is the continuation lecture for ijtag interview questions and answers. So, my first question is for an in-out port, how many boundary scan cells you require? This is the most important question. The number of scan cells need not necessarily match the number of chip pins. That means it should not match with the number of chip pins. So, for example, if a chip pin is bidirectional, conceptually, at least 3 boundary scan cells are required. One on the input side, one on the output side, and the one allow the control of the IO status. So this is the IO pad. So it is connected bidirectional pin. So here this is for input and this is for output and this is for control. 3 boundary scan cells are required here. Next question is, what are the default values of JTAG signals? That means TMS, test reset enable, TDI, TDO, TCK. Okay, in JTAG interface, the default values of the signals are typically TMS is high, test reset if present is high, TDI is high, TDO high impedance, and TCK is low. Essentially, most signals are initially set to high except the clock TCK, test clock, which is usually low until actively clocked. So TMS is a test mode select. This signal controls the state machine within the target device. TMS controls the state machine within the target device, and its default is typically high, which is usually corresponding to an ideal state. TMS is one ideal state. And test reset, if present, this pin is used to reset the test logic and is usually pulled high when not actively used. TDI and TDO, these two are test data inputs and test data outputs. So the TDI, the data input to the device is typically set to high when not actively shifted data. TDO, this is a tri-stated output, meaning it is in a high impedance state when not actively being used to output data. TCK, test clock. The clock signal used to synchronize the data transfer, and it is usually initially low until a sequence is initiated. Except TCK, all are high. What are the mandatory instructions in JTAG? The mandatory instructions in JTAG are bypass, xtest, and preloader sample. So bypass. Connect the TDI to TDO lines. Through the bypass register. This allows the testing of other devices in JTAG chain. Xtest. Connects the TDI and TDO to the boundary scan registers. Xtest. TDI, TDO to the boundary scan registers. This allows the device to be tested in external mode. Sample or preload. Connect the TDI and TDO to boundary scan same, but leaves the device in its normal functional mode. This allows the boundary scan register to be accessed while the device is in functional. So next question is, what is JTAG? Why it is used? How IO testing happens with JTAG? JTAG, which stands for Giant Action Group, is an industry standard interface used for testing and debugging electronic circuit on printed circuit boards by providing access to internal logic through a dedicated test access port TAP, allowing the engineers to verify the design and perform the compressive testing without needing direct access to the individual pins on the chip. Next question is, explain the sample and preload operations. Sample and preload refers to a single instruction that allows a device to be capture the state of its input output pins while still operating normally. Essentially taking a snapshot of the signals and then optionally preloads the new data onto those pins without interrupting the device functionality. Sample preload, this is an instruction causes the TDI and TDO to be connected to the BSR, boundary scan register. However, the device is left it's in normal functional mode. During this instruction, BSR can be accessed by a data scan operation to take a sample of the functional data entering and leaving the device. That's all. We'll continue in our next lecture.